Friday, May the 15th. I don't even have to look that up because I know. I had to, I did, pay the pawn shop today. Yes, the brain. The brain is connected. The wireless tube, wait, well, the Bluetooth device doesn't work. Lordy. Okay. Well, anyway, if you saw, if you watched the Sketchy Wednesday, it turned into Sketchy Wednesday this week, not Tuesday. Because Tuesday I had like a snotty, runny, blah 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 blah. It was like this perfect storm of bullshit. Because I always assume it's allergies. Like every time. I just kind of assume it's allergies. Even if it's a little touch of something else. Maybe. It could have been a little touch of something else. So it's like... And even now, I'm breathing a little, because I probably got stuff in my lungs from mowing at Parks and Rec. But it's like, I was just, like, my nose was just constantly running. Couldn't get it to stop. I was like, I was coughing a lot. I still am, but it's like I'm not having to like shove, Kleenexes up my nose to keep it from like dripping and running and whatever. Maybe a little bit, little sniffles, but so I had all that going on. But, I've had a couple days of rest now, so I'm a little bit better in all aspects because, sometimes when I'm mowing at Parks and Rec on one of those hills and I'm like this, I'm like leaning to the side, I I tense my body up, and I think, I think I was sore from that because, like, my arm was hurting, and it's like my sides were hurting a little bit. Actually, it started on one side and then it ended up on both sides. So it was really fun to do things like sneeze and cough and sometimes laugh and stretch and try to push out a poop. Like all of the important things in life. Like it really was difficult there for a couple of days because it was like it wasn't as bad as that one time that I, whatever it was that I did, and pulled a muscle in my side, whatever, I don't know. But I think it's one of those things where it's like I was already sore, and then it's like I was coughing, and I was sneezing, and I just got even more sore than I was already sore, and, but I'm gonna take a restful week. Oh, she moved. She was cute. Maybe she's going to get back to cute. I feel like if I move this, I'm going to bother her. But she's just laying down there in her toys. Disassociating, which is what I plan to do all weekend. Pretty much. But, Gail and Angela invited me out to go see that new movie, Obsession. Which I do kind of want to see, I guess. But I'm thinking I'm just going to stay in my pajamas and be lazy all weekend. And just kind of, rest, relax. Because that's what I was trying to think the last 2 weekends. I know last weekend was Mother's Day weekend. Mom was here. We had the little get-together at Heather's, and then we went to the arcade in town. I hadn't been there before yet. The arcade and toy museum. And the funny thing is, when we went to the toy museum, I'm like, the one guy looked familiar. And I was like, and he even said to Mom and I, he's like, you guys have been here before, right? And I was like, no. I was like, I tried to come, twice or whatever. I'm like, do you by chance do maintenance at Electric Springs? And he was like, yeah. He's like, that's where we know each other. I told him, I'm like, I still have your humidifier, dehumidifier, whatever the fuck you call it. And he was like, oh, he's like, have they ever come in and done anything about that? And I was like, no. And he's like, oh, he's like, and I even saw him. He was over doing some maintenance on the place across the, across the, not really street, I don't know what you call it. But, the apartment across from me, on the other side from me, whatever. I don't know if he saw me come in or not. But he's like, maybe I'll stop over and get that while I'm there. And then I guess he forgot again because it's still here. Maybe he came to the door and knocked and I didn't answer. And he's like, oh, I'll just come back later, whatever. I don't know. So yeah, my maintenance guy is I don't know if he works there. I don't know if he's one of the owners. I don't know. But they've got a lot of cool stuff in there. They've got some toys. They've got some McDonald's toys and all that kind of stuff, and action figures. They had a little Power Ranger section. They had some stuff that they'd built themselves. Like this little droid. I took a picture of this to try to get to ask Blaine if he knew what it was, and I guess it's a little pit droid. They built themselves. And then maybe I'll throw that clip at the end here of the stormtrooper. So I'll try to remember to throw that clip in at the end. A little stormtrooper, not little stormtrooper. It was full size. I don't know if they built that one themselves or not, but there's a lot of stuff in there that they did, like the little pit droid thing that they built themselves apparently. What was one of the other things? Oh, the mask from the movie, Jim Carrey movie, The Mask, or Son of the Mask, I guess. I think he said that they built that mask themselves too, or something. I don't know. But then they've got like old technology, like a bunch of old computers. They got like CNCs in there, which I guess is a toy, but they had a whole bunch of old like film reels and stuff, and I guess they've partnered with the campus and anybody who's studying film or whatever, because he said, these kids, they learn about it, they read about it in a book, but they've never touched like a film reel and like spliced it together, whatever, blah, 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 so they can come in there and, get hands-on with, these film reels and like splicing them and doing different stuff and whatever. They have like sound booths where you can, I guess, record music and stuff if you want. Maybe they're not quite set up for that yet, but that's the plan, I guess. I don't know for sure. Because he said something about, they have people doing internships with them that are like doing like sound and lighting and, all this other stuff. So they're, doing good for the community too. They're not just a fun place to go and play games. And I wish they had a little bit more pinball, because there was like, but they had, I think they had three pinball machines. Well, maybe 4, like physical they were all physical pinball machines. But only 2 of them worked. I don't think one of them was on. And the other one they had open just so you could see the inner workings of the pinball machine. And then they had a pinball machine. I have never seen anything like this before. And I should have got footage of it too, because Mom and I played that for a minute. It was like a digital screen instead of being like, that's why I said physical pinball machine. Because a physical pinball machine has like the bumpers and all that kind of stuff and the ball and whatever. But this pinball machine, like the thing, instead of being like glass and seeing down into it, it was a screen. And it was weird. It was kind of weird. It took me a minute, I guess. I don't know, for my eyes, because it just moved so fast. There's like sometimes I would like miss the ball, but I got onto it a little bit later. So it was interesting. It was interesting. They have pachinko machines in there. But they're not up and running yet. He said they had to do some kind of work to them to get them to where they could work, I guess, or something. Or return the ball up to the top or something. I don't know. But they show people, they have one machine that they show people how they work. Or whatever. So I'd never been in there before. But it's a cool little place. I got to play X-Men, because a lot of their machines are multiple. You can play a bunch of different games on one machine. And one of them I just happened to see said X-Men, and I was like, oh, X-Men. So I played, kicked some ass as Dazzler. I used to be better. I feel like, or maybe I just thought I kicked ass with Dazzler. I don't know. But, so that was fun. And then, of course, there was Gail's birthday. We went out Friday night for Gail's birthday to Buffalo Wild Wings and to see Mortal Kombat 2. And then I guess it was the weekend before that. That was their wedding. Because I don't think there was a break in between there. That might have also been the weekend I went to see Hokum, maybe? I don't know. I've got a drink because my throat keeps getting dry. So maybe I should wet it a little bit. Mayor, thank you. So yeah, I'm just kind of ready for a. That's what I did today when I got back from Parks and Rec. Is ordered me some Chinese. And ate that Chinese because I was kind of wanting something maybe for the weekend, to have. But then I ended up having to, I was just looking today to see how much Eliquis I had left, and and the pharmacy sent me a message. That I didn't have a refill, but they would reach out. They would reach out to my prescriber or whatever. And, get another prescription going for me or whatever. So, if I had to respond fill, so I respond fill. And while I was, ordering stuff from the Walmart pharmacy anyway, because I always get it delivered, because it's just a lot easier. I did end up having to call them because my copay card keeps falling off of there. And, I would much rather pay $10 than $88.17, which is what it originally messaged me, like, oh, $88.17 due today. And I was like, no, $10. It's been worse before, though. And I was paying that because I didn't realize the copay card wasn't on there. I was paying like $150 something at one point because I just thought that's what I had to, pay to live, I guess. Because the results from my heart monitor came back, and they did say, they basically said everything, like, I have an irregular heartbeat, we already knew that. She wants me to continue on the Eliquis, which I basically knew that too already. As long as I can keep paying $10 for it, that's fine. Anyway. And she's setting me up with a cardiologist. I just remembered the cardiologist called me today to set up an appointment. I was awake at some point because I remember listening to that. Oh, I was getting the delivery. I was getting the delivery from Walmart because I had my Eliquis from the pharmacy, but I also ordered myself a couple of TV dinners. They only sat outside for like maybe half an hour-ish. It was still somewhat cold when I got it, because at one point I was watching the screen, because I was like, oh, she's on her way, okay, cool, and then I woke up like half an hour later. I was like, oh shit. So she was on her way, and then I took a half-hour nap, and before I went out and got it. So at some point I was awake because I listened to the Dr. Brown, I guess, is the personage that I'm going to go see. I guess the one I was referred to, the cardiologist I was referred to. I'm sending myself that video. Oh, Gail messaged me. So I should probably see what he messaged me about. But he might have been asking me if I was going to go see the movie. Because I told him I was probably going to just have a lazy weekend, or however I worded it. I don't know. But I was like, if I decide to get out, I'll let you know. So they might have been asking before they went. They're actually going to see. He invited me along. Him and Angela both, actually. He texted me and she messaged me on Messenger, on Facebook, about going to see The Mandalorian and Grogu, and they're going to go in 4D. They're going to go in a thing where I guess the seats move. It sounds like a cool experience, but I've never watched the show, so I was kind of like, I don't think I would know what was going on. I mean, I joined Buffy in season 6. I didn't know what was going on then either, and I ended up loving it's my favorite TV show of all time now, because I went back and watched everything, so I guess I could, I didn't start reading X-Men until, I remember getting two. Mom used to get me these things for Christmas, that was like a pack of 50 random comics or whatever, and X-Men, I think it was 249 and 250 were in one of those, so those were my first time I ever read X-Men, so of course, and like half of the X-Men had been killed off at that point, so it's like, I didn't even know what was going on, but I guess fill in the holes later, I guess. Phil McCracken. I don't know. So yeah, I get to go see a cardiologist, and she asked me when the next time I went to see my pulmonologist was, and I was like, of course we were phone tagging. I tried to call, nobody would answer, so I would leave a message, and then they would try to call me, and of course I was asleep, or out mowing, so I didn't hear the phone, so they would leave me a voicemail. But and I was like, I haven't seen him since last year because I forgot to set up the appointment. But the last couple times, and I even told him that, I'm like, the last couple times I went up there, it wasn't really anything. He didn't really tell me anything, But for some reason, they want me to see the pulmonologist because she's, her nurse, one of the people in the office, whatever, said something about see if they'll see you again. If not, we'll send in a referral for a pulmonologist. And I was like, why do you have to, it's one of those times, it's like, is there something going on you're not telling me? Why do you want me to see the pulmonologist? I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't know. But, so I might have to go see another pulmonologist or start going back to Kadwani. Because it's like they messaged me once to remind me to set up the appointment, and then I never heard from them again. I haven't heard from them. And Mom said it was October 6th was the last time that we were up there. And yeah, I was done so quick that, her and Holly had gotten to the mall. That's as far as they had gotten. It took longer waiting to see the doctor than actually seeing the doctor. And it's like, why am I even here? What am I coming for? I don't understand. It's like when you're 12 years old and you have your first wet dream. What am I coming for? Who knows? I don't understand. So it didn't really seem to be that big of a deal, but for some reason she wants me to go see one. So, I don't know. Right now I can't breathe because of, like I said, allergies and bullshit. But at least I can cough without my sides hurting, so that's a plus. But I think that's everything from the last week that needs to be mentioned. So, let me get a drink and wet the whistle. So that I can answer a question. Which is... Let me flip the page. Flip the script. Alright. Write about your current morning routine and then your ideal morning routine. Well, my ideal morning routine is not waking up. Technically, and I work overnight. So technically morning for me, do you mean actual morning? Do you mean... You know, like when I get home from work, because I get home at 7 a.m. in the morning. And that used to be my time of day to give up before I started doing seasonal Parks and Rec as well. So if you mean actual morning, I come home from work, I get a mild little cat nap, and then I go work for Parks and Rec for about 4 hours. You know, that's my actual morning routine. But for me, morning is like 9 p.m. That's when I'm technically waking up for the day. Even though I've crashed out on the couch and maybe taken a power nap somewhere in there. You know, I actually went and laid down in bed. Yeah, I don't eat breakfast. I don't really eat anything until first break, which is like at like 12:30 in the morning. So I get up with enough time to like shower and get ready for work. You know, and wait for Francesca, because you know I started getting rides with her when it was cold. I think when it was winter or something, and then it's like she just lives right around the corner, and it's so easy to just, instead of like walking for half an hour, you know, I can be to work in like, you know, 5-10 minutes or something, you know, like I don't have to put forth all that extra effort. So I've kind of stopped doing that. I've gotten lazy on that one. But yeah, I wake up with enough time to get ready to go, and that's about it. And then I get ready and I go. So, and my ideal morning is like I like weekends where it's like I don't live by an, well, I was gonna say I don't live by an alarm, but I mean, I kind of do, because, you know, my alarm will go off at 9 p.m. and 9 a.m. to take my Eliquis, you know. So I'm living by an alarm that way. You know, I was kind of hoping to get a few more years in before having to worry about that kind of fucking bullshit, but sorry. Keep it wet. So that's about the only alarm I wake up to on a weekend, usually. Other than you, who like jumps in my face and is like, meow, meow, meow. She's looking at me like, how dare you? What did you say about my mother? Mishmix, mishmix. So yeah, sometimes I'll be trying to sleep, and she'll get up in my face and meow. But, you know, my ideal morning routine is to not wake up to an alarm, to just wake up whenever I wake up, do whatever, you know, like, just not live by a time clock, not have any sort of responsibilities or any of that sort of thing, you know, like, oh, well, now I've got to, you know, not wake up to an alarm, not, you know, oh, well, now it's time to get ready for work. Now it's time to, you know, like, just restful, just relaxing, just, you know. And if all I want to do all day is sit here in my pajamas and be a bump on a log, that's all I'm going to do, you know. Of course, I have my stories to catch up on. I've only watched one this week, I think, as of right now, so, because I've been doing, you know, probably a lot more sleeping, trying to, you know, because usually if I get, you know, if I get actually sick, you know, like I know I've said this multiple times before, but basically I just sleep and then I feel better, you know. But with going to Parks and Rec, and, you know, but there again, if it is allergies, there's nothing I can really do about it. You know, it's just gonna hit me as much as it hits me, for as long as it hits me, I guess. But I did get to a point where it's like I didn't have to, you know, constantly be worried about my nose running and dripping on me and whatever, but which is nice, definitely much better. But so I don't really live much by a routine, other than, you know, waking up to an alarm to get ready to go to work. That's about it. And, you know, waking up on the weekends to do the Eloquist thing, you know. Yay, yippee. So, but definitely my, you know, morning routine, because that's kind of like even if you go on a vacation, it's not really restful. That's what I wonder if I would enjoy a cruise, because there's not really, like, you're on cruise time, other than, you know, the breakfast closes at a certain time. It's like it's just so stressful. It's just like, even, you know, the hotel breakfast is from, like, you know, 6 to 9 or 6 to 10 or whatever. Most breakfasts don't go too late in the hotel, but then it's like you got to get ready and you got to check out by 11 and blah 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 blah. Like you're living on that time clock, even though you're supposed to be on vacation. You're supposed to be on a trip. You're supposed to be enjoying yourself. It's like, oh well, we got to be out of here, and, you know, by a certain time, and like, be up by a certain time or you're gonna miss breakfast. And it's like, girl, you know what I mean? Jeez. But so just, like, you know, nice, relaxing, restful weekends at home. That's my ideal morning routine, is to not have one. And, I mean, maybe not even wake up in the morning. Maybe wake up, you know, in the afternoon sometime. Fuck it. Who cares? Who gives a shit? I don't. But yes. There's that. That's that. There's a cat. A rat-a-tat-tat. Oh. That was a good time for my light to go off. But anyway, I want to buy, like, a little lamp or something to put here. Or, like, a little light that, like, clips onto the table so that I can get a little bit more light over here. For whatever reason, so that I don't have to utilize the TV. The TV screen quite as much. High tech around here. So, professionalism, as I like to say. Put the book away. Put the book away. Ew. But yes, I messaged myself that clip of the Stormtrooper so that you can see it. I actually took it to send to Heather so she could show Blaine, because Blaine's a big Star Wars person. So hopefully I will remember to clip that in here. And other than that, I guess I'll be back. Well, you never know what I'll be back with. I have all those videos that I need to do, like all of these thingies down here. I don't know what I'll be back with, but I'll be back. I'll definitely be back either next Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It'll be sketchy at some point. It usually is around here. And then a question. You know, I'm good to be sketchy and answer a question and an update, of course, if there's much to update on. So anyway, and I'll see you for what I see you. There he goes. I wasn't sure he was gonna. I think it's motion activated.